key question in the startup world. One of the things I learned early on when I started doing entrepreneur support was one way to look at this very eclectic, messy world known as startup and small business. One way you can divide it is technology and everybody else. Because technology companies have very different startup needs than most other types of companies, and they think about growth very differently than other types of startup companies. And we would certainly love to have some technology companies, and I'm sure over time we will get some, but it's not just technology. I very definitely want to have a mix of industry sectors. So we might have a cupcake company. That one might be a little different, only in the sense that a cupcake company is going to need at minimum an oven, and we're not going to have an oven. But there may be a startup cupcake company or other type of, let's say, a manufacturing company. We'd love to work with some small manufacturers who maybe somewhere nearby already have a factory. Maybe they are making some product and they have, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 employees. And the founder owner is working 7 days a week and is called upon. You see this all the time in entrepreneurship, as I'm sure you know, Andre. The founder owner is called upon to wear every hat.
Right.
And nobody can be good at everything that a small business is required. You can't simultaneously be good at making the product, selling the product, doing your financials, doing the marketing, doing the sales, etc. It's just, I've never met anybody who could do all of that really, really well. But early on, they are required to do that. And so they may need some training and some assistance. So, a cupcake company or a small manufacturer, if they have a location somewhere else, whether it's a kitchen, they're making cupcakes, or a small factory making a product, but the founder owner could, if we look them over, we analyze their application and look at their business model, and we think we can help them grow, then that might be a good candidate for membership. The founder owner would come in, maybe get a co-working desk, and they would be in this active community, because we expect a lot of peer learning. We expect entrepreneurs we all learn from each other, right? People in workplaces learn from each other. And that's definitely true among entrepreneurs. And so you get a lot of cross-pollination of ideas and know-how when you bring people together like that in a collaborative space. So the founder owner may still have his or her factory a mile or two away maybe, but they spend time inside our Entrepreneur Center learning from our offerings, learning from their peers. And also, I mentioned earlier, conference room to meet with customers. A lot of times those small factories aren't necessarily the nicest place in the world to meet a potential customer, and your alternative might be Starbucks. And so here it'd be different. They could book a conference room, have a client come in, and they could have a professional meeting in a professional conference room. So we're going to look at all types of businesses, and we definitely want a mix of sectors, subsectors, and what have you over time, so that we get that mix of diversity and ideas.
Well, I could tell you, anybody who's listening right now, if you're in Gwinnett County, you're thinking about starting a business in the food industry, we do have a shared kitchen right here on Scenic Highway. And I forgot the woman's name, but there's a shared kitchen that you can, once you go through the programs at GEC, then you'll be able to go over there and, use a shared kitchen. So if you're thinking about catering or cupcakes or whatever it is, there's a shared kitchen right here in Gwinnett County that you can utilize. There's a membership fee, and I want to say the membership fee starts at about $200 a month. But it is, if you can't cook in your house, which I think there's some rules and regulations about that. We do have a shared kitchen here in Gwinnett County. So, Mike, I want to jump over a little bit to certifications. I recently went through the whole SAM.gov questionnaire, which was very long. And because, one of the things a lot of people want to do is do business with the county. And so there are certifications that they need. And some of those certifications can be a little bit expensive, very tedious to go through. Like I did SAM.gov myself, which is a database if you want to do business with the federal government. It was long. And I wouldn't, I would tell people if they got the time to sit down and do it. But it's long. And I could tell you there was one hiccup on my application that kept coming back. It kept telling me my my EIN number was not found. I'm like, I know my EIN number is in there, right? There's a little line on one of the sheets that says, who is the taxpayer? So, of course, I'm thinking it's me, so I put my name there, and it kept kicking back. So, finally, I called, and I said, listen, I had to call the IRS. So, like, listen, I'm putting this application in. So, the lady said, go to page something and go down. She said, what do you have there? And I said, well, I have my company name. She's like, no, I have my name. She said, no, it should be the company name. It's little tiny things like that. So, I said that to say, I know that there are a lot of people who are interested in, becoming certified as an MBE or DBE or WSOB. Are there going to be programs in place to assist them with that? And if there are, is there going to be any kind of funding to help them offset some of the application fees that because some of those fees are hefty. Like, I spoke to a young lady recently, and she was like, yeah, I can help you get WSOB certified, but it was like $650. So are there going to be programs in place for those type of certifications? And if there are, what are the fees, and would there be any kind of grants, anything to help them offset those fees?
Well, we definitely want to provide service in that world, because you're absolutely right. That's a big part of the small business and startup world, is doing business with government entities. So let's take it piece at a time.
Okay.
And this would also hold true for any type of information or technical assistance or programming we would do out of the center. But let's just use this certification as an example. So at a minimum, going back to what I said earlier about this center being a portal to resources, at a minimum, I would want us to be an information resource for any entrepreneur in the region seeking information about certification for state, county, federal government vendor status. So because you're absolutely right. Sometimes you get on the websites of governments, and it's not always immediately clear what they're asking for, because it's very technical. If you're brand new to it, you may not be able to navigate the website and exactly figure it out. What I aspire for this Entrepreneur Center to do is to be a source of information so that we can walk an entrepreneur through that process. In other words, sitting at home, you want to register for sam.gov or whatever, you start doing it, you understand most of it, but you run across a problem like what you just described. Maybe you can't get through to the federal government, or their interface is confusing or whatever. If you could turn to us, and we may not know it at first. I mean, I'm sure the day we open our door, we're not going to be able to solve every problem for every entrepreneur. But what I want us to do is get better and better over time. And so if an entrepreneur calls us and says, hey, I've had trouble with my sam.gov, all right, tell me what you're facing. And if our staff has encountered that before and has an answer, problem solved. We help the entrepreneur. They enter to the correct information on the registration website, submit, we move on. Now, what we'll have our radar up for is how many repeats do we get like that? If we start to see a pattern, if we start to see, oh, this certification has all these problems, the website's terrible, whatever it is, or some other thing that entrepreneurs are trying to do, we see them facing this challenge over and over and over again. What that tells us, Audrey, is there's an opportunity for a class or a workshop. If there's enough problem there, if there's enough material there that it's affecting a lot of people in a major way, then that tells us there's a good opportunity to create a specific training class on that specific issue or challenge. And so that would kind of be the next step up of technical assistance we would provide to the entrepreneur community. Now, the other thing you mentioned is financial assistance for certification or assistance in those kinds of areas. The short answer right now is I don't know yet. We've got a lot of things we have to do just to get our doors open and up and running. I will tell you, certainly financial assistance for deserving entrepreneurs is something that we have our eye on. I mentioned earlier that I could see us having a lower tiered membership on for low moderate income entrepreneurs for our memberships. Likewise, if we see a need for that constituency for certification, Then what we might do is see if there's a way to create some kind of scholarship program or something like that.
Okay.
I think there are going to be, I've already had some very preliminary talks with some private companies in the region who like what we're doing. They like this idea. And so we're not there yet, so don't want to promise anything yet, but I could very definitely see private organizations saying, hey, that looks like a good opportunity for us to spend some dollars locally to help startup businesses. Let's create a fund and find some entrepreneurs who maybe they put the money toward part of their membership fee in our facility. Maybe they put the money toward a certification fee or something else, maybe a business license fee. We will definitely be looking at those kinds of programs. Right now, that piece is putting the cart before the horse a little bit. We still got to renovate the building to get started, but we definitely have all of those kinds of things that you're asking about on our radar to consider. And if it's feasible and it helps the entrepreneur community, we'll do it.
All right. That's what I like to hear. So one last question, and we're going to close it out after this. But so right now, the COVID has disrupted just a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of businesses, and things like that. And so we have a lot of people who are now freelancers and gig workers and independent contractors. If someone wanted to become an independent contractor or a freelancer or partner with you guys, let's say there's a person that's really good on LinkedIn and they could do LinkedIn training. Is there going to be a platform for them to say, hey, I want to raise my hand because I'm good at this thing and I want to be a part of this? Is there going to be opportunities like that for those people?
Yes, there are. In fact, I've been having those conversations for months, actually. If somebody wants to get involved, first of all, what I would recommend is that they go to GwinnettEntrepreneurCenter.com. That's our website. There's a place there they can sign up to receive notices. As we get closer and closer to opening, I'll start to send out email notices about our progress and our activity and ways to participate. And I'm sure our website is, again, as we get closer and closer to opening, we'll have more and more content. We'll start to advertise programs and events and so forth that we'll offer once we open our doors. If people also are interested in providing programming, they can reach out to me, mark.farmer@GwinnettCounty.com. And if they want to educate entrepreneurs, that sort of thing. I will say that we are mostly looking for programming. Remember, we're going to be looking at startups who don't have a whole lot of money and low to moderate income founder owners who have perhaps less. And so some of the conversations we've had so far, we're looking at nonprofits to provide programming, other types of government programming, because we want to offer as much free and very low-cost programming as we can. That's not to say that we wouldn't be open to for-profit, but it's we'll look at those very carefully. But certainly, we would like to hear about it. If someone is interested in providing programming to entrepreneurs, they can contact me and we can talk about it.
All right. So now you gave your email, you gave out the website. Is anything else you want to talk to the potential entrepreneurs who are listening to this show right now who are going to be calling on you?
Yes, and this is just something I've told entrepreneurs for many, many years in Gwinnett. There are a lot of resources out there. I mean, this Entrepreneur Center is going to be a great facility. Also, I'm available to help people. But, again, you've got SCORE, SBDC, ACE, Gwinnett Chamber. You've got city economic development managers. There is a small army of resources out there. And I continue to be amazed when I talk to entrepreneurs and I'll ask them, they'll call me with some challenge because they've reached their wits' end. And they're like, I had to turn for some help. And I ask them, do you know about SCORE? Do you know about SBDC? Do you know about ACE? And they've never heard of any of them. And sometimes they've been in business for a few years. And I'm always astounded at that because these are free resources with experts that can help you with classes, with mentoring, all sorts of help. So don't just turn inward, turn outward, engage with the community and find out what's available. There's a whole lot of help out there.
Mark, I think to the defense of the entrepreneur, when they're starting up, they're so busy trying to figure out, because most of the entrepreneurs the first thing they try to figure out is, how am I going to grow the business and make money? So they kind of miss the opportunity to find out about these different resources that are out there, especially if the resources are not that vocal. Like if they're not able to go online and do the research to look for the resource, and the resource is not advertising where they're listening to the content, then it kind of makes it a little bit hard. So I kind of understand that. But I'm glad that we're having this conversation, and I will continue to have this conversation with you and anyone on your team, because I'm passionate about entrepreneurs. I am been one for a very long time. Understand a lot of the struggles that they go through. Been a small business consultant, so I understand like that whole process. So I want to thank you so much, so much for taking the time to talk to me. I'm sure I'm going to be talking to you again, because as I said earlier, Derek Wilson, who is running for commissioner of District 3, which is the district in which I live, he and I are working on a micro business venture initiative together. So I'm sure we'll probably have a conversation about what that looks like and how we can get involved with the whole Entrepreneur Center and just help out, because I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I said, before I married my husband, I told him, like, listen, you don't want to marry me because I'm an entrepreneur and I'm going to be one to the day I die. And he said, I'm good with that. So it's been 20 years, so I guess he is really good with it. But thank you so much for being my guest. Thank you for just taking the time to share this great information. And I'll be sure to send this link to you once I put in the graphics and everything, so you can share it. And I'll share it across the network as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do that.
All right. So thanks, Mark. Listen, y'all, I hope that was a great interview. Thank you, Mark. My Friday starts today, so I'm going to tell you to have a good weekend and be safe out there, because today is my Friday, and I call it quits for today. But you have a great weekend, Mark.
Well, you too.
Thank you.
You be safe and have a great weekend as well. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
All right, listen, guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview, because I really enjoyed it, so I hope you did as well. Listen, the center is going to be open. If you're thinking about starting a business, this is a great opportunity for you to do so. I'm going to go to a song, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to give you my word of inspiration today, so stay tuned. Welcome back. So listen, guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Mr. Mark Farmer. He is the Economic Development Manager over the Small Business and Entrepreneurship Department here in Gwinnett County. Gwinnett has some great things that are about to roll out for entrepreneurs. I'm excited for you and to be able to bring you information about this as we move forward. So I'm excited about that. Listen, if you're thinking about starting a podcast, this is a great opportunity to do one. The industry is growing. I spent 4 hours on a conference yesterday talking to industry experts. This is the time, y'all. Do not wait. Do not sit on your laurels and wait until the industry is saturated and now you want to try to get in. Get in now. If you are a woman thinking about starting a podcast, go to podchicks.com. That's podchix.com. And sign up for the Podchicks Incubator there. It's going to start in September, so I'm excited about that as well. So listen, today is my Friday, but before I go, I want to leave you with a little bit of inspiration and get you through the rest of the day and the rest of the week. And here goes. It isn't where you come from, it's where you're going that counts. Let me say that again. It isn't where you come from, it's where you're going that counts. Ella Fitzgerald said that, and she was absolutely right. It's not where you come from, because you don't have to stay in the past. It's where you're going. Put the blinders on, look ahead, stop looking behind you, because it's behind you. That's why they call it the past. Right now, be present. They call that the present for a reason. And look forward to the future. It's not where you come from. You could have come from the worst of situations, but you don't have to stay there, right? It's too many things out here. It's too many opportunities out here. It's too many resources. And I know for some of you, all that stuff looks pretty dire right now because of the COVID-19 and all the stuff that's going on in the world. But I want to challenge you to stay positive as you can. And when you find yourself slipping and you can't, find you something good to look to focus on, right? Focus on the grandbaby, right? Focus on the new book you planning on writing. And don't think that it's impossible. Your circumstances from the past does not determine your circumstances for the future or the present. So, that being said, stay in the present, look forward to the future, leave the past where it is in the past. Thank you so much for listening. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you spent the last 59 minutes with me, and I do appreciate you. I really, really do, and I love you. Stay safe out there, y'all. If you missed any episode of this show, be sure to go to goodmorninggwinnett.com to listen to past episodes there. I'm about to put this link out. I'm kind of slow about putting out the links, but this was a really good episode. Not that my other episodes weren't good as well, but this was a good one because this is something very near and dear to my heart. I'm an entrepreneur, been one for a very long time, passionate about helping people find their dreams. And so I want to make sure that I am a resource to you, to make sure that you know that the resources are available out there. This center is going to be there for you who are trying to start a business. And just like Mark said, it's open to all industries. And that's a great thing. A lot of times I talk to entrepreneurs, centers, and things like that. They're geared towards the tech space. Not this one. It's open to all industries, and that's exciting. So, be sure to listen to past episodes of the show, and be sure to share this show. My goal for this show is to get 50,000 downloads for this episode, because there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there who need help. There's a lot of people out there with some great ideas. There are a lot of people out there who lost their jobs and want to start a business. Now is the time. Do not wait. Go for the gold right now. Thank you again for listening. I'll be back again on Monday, 10 a.m., God willing. And listen, be safe out there. Put your mask on. Be safe. Social distance. And until next time, y'all, make it a great day. Bye now.
You've been listening to Good Morning Gwinnett. Make sure to tune in Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to find out what's happening around Gwinnett. If you like this episode, subscribe now and share with your friends. To learn more about Noise Media Network, visit noisemedia.us.